I used to believe wealth was a mystery reserved for the chosen few, for the people who had it all figured out, the ones born into privilege, the ones who somehow knew something I didn't. I used to wake up every morning trapped in the same pattern: work, stress, repeat. I convinced myself that if I just worked harder, things would eventually change. But no matter how hard I worked, my reality stayed the same. The bills didn't stop. The worry didn't stop. The quiet voice in the back of my mind whispering, "Maybe this is just how life is for you," didn't stop. And for years, I accepted that lie. I lived in the illusion that the key to a better life was out there somewhere, in some opportunity, some lucky break, some external miracle. But one night, sitting alone with nothing but a notebook and my frustration, I realized something that shook me to my core. Wealth isn't about money, it's about mindset. That realization didn't come from a seminar or a book. It came from pain. It came from being tired of feeling powerless. Because when you've had enough of your own excuses, you begin to see the truth, that your thoughts shape your life far more than your circumstances ever could. I used to tell myself stories that justified my struggle. I don't have the right education. I don't know the right people. I've already wasted too much time. And the mind, loyal and obedient, believed every word. The more I repeated those stories, the more they became real. That's when I learned the most important principle of all. Your life will always move in the direction of your dominant thoughts. The poor think in terms of lack. The wealthy think in terms of possibility. The unsuccessful think in terms of obstacles. The successful think in terms of opportunity. And I realized I had been planting weeds in the garden of my mind for years, then wondering why my life didn't bear fruit. I had to start over. I had to unlearn the lies that I had built my life upon. I had to silence the noise of limitation and tune into a different frequency, one that whispered, "You are more than your past. You are more than your pain. You are more than your fear." So I began to rebuild, thought by thought. Every morning, I spoke life into my own spirit. I am capable. I am worthy. I am becoming everything I was meant to be. At first, it felt fake. My reality didn't match my words. But I kept speaking them because I understood that change always begins as a seed before it becomes a harvest. There's something powerful about a mind that refuses to give up on itself. The moment you start believing that you are capable of more, the universe begins to move in your favor. People call it coincidence. I call it alignment. Doors begin to open. Opportunities begin to appear. The world outside begins to mirror the shift inside. But let me be honest. This wasn't easy. The old mindset doesn't die quietly. It fights for survival. It tries to convince you that you're wasting your time, that you'll fail again, that you're not built for greatness. I faced those voices every single day. But I decided that my future deserved a louder voice than my fear. And so, I pressed on. I started reading every day, not just for information, but for transformation. I listened to people who had built the life I wanted, not for their money, but for their mindset. I studied how they thought, how they spoke, how they handled adversity. And one pattern stood out. Every successful person had gone through struggle, but none of them stayed there. That became my revelation. The difference between the rich and the poor, the fulfilled and the frustrated, the free and the trapped, is not resources, not intelligence, not connections. It's mindset. It's belief. It's the willingness to see beyond the pain of now into the possibility of what can be. So I made a promise to myself to stop chasing money and start developing the mindset that attracts it. Because money without mindset is like pouring water into a broken cup. No matter how much you pour in, it will always leak out. You don't just need income, you need inner growth. I started treating my thoughts like currency. Every negative thought was a debt. Every positive one was an investment. I started paying attention to what I was depositing in my mind every day, because the mind doesn't care what you plant in it. It will grow whatever you feed it. If you feed it doubt, it will produce excuses. If you feed it faith, it will produce results. I began to visualize the person I wanted to become. I could see him clearly, calm, focused, disciplined, confident. A man who didn't chase success but attracted it. I wrote down what he did every day. I wrote down how he thought, how he carried himself, how he spoke about his goals. And slowly I started to act like him. Not someday, but today. And that's where the real transformation began. Because the mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you start to act like the person you want to become, you begin to rewire your subconscious mind to believe that you already are. That's how transformation happens. Not through wishing, but through alignment. I remember the first time I felt it, that quiet shift. I wasn't rich yet. I wasn't out of debt yet. But something inside me had changed. I no longer felt like a victim of my circumstances. I felt like the creator of my destiny. I woke up with clarity instead of confusion. I walked with purpose instead of panic. That's the moment I understood that wealth is not about what you have. It's about who you are becoming. So many people spend their lives chasing outcomes. They want the money, the car, the house, but they ignore the one thing that creates all of it, the mindset. You cannot out-earn your self-image. You cannot build a life that your mind rejects. You cannot attract abundance while thinking in scarcity. The real millionaire mindset is not a fantasy, it's a formula. It's built on 3 pillars: belief, discipline, and persistence. Belief says, it's possible. Discipline says, I'll do it every day. Persistence says, I'll keep going no matter what. When those 3 come together, there's nothing you can't achieve. But here's the truth most people ignore. The journey will test you. The process will humble you. There will be nights of doubt, moments of exhaustion, seasons where nothing seems to work. That's where most people quit. They think difficulty means it's not meant for them. But difficulty is the doorway to destiny. Every great story passes through struggle. Every breakthrough is born in resistance. When I was broke and hopeless, I used to think my problems were punishment. Now I understand. They were preparation. They were shaping my mind, sharpening my character, strengthening my faith. Because success demands a stronger version of you, and the struggle is how you meet that version. You cannot become wealthy in your wallet if you remain poor in your mindset. You cannot hold abundance with hands that are still clinging to fear. The universe gives more to those who are ready to handle more, and readiness starts in the mind. I stopped asking, when will it happen? And started asking, who must I become for it to happen? That question changed everything. Because when you focus on becoming, the having takes care of itself. Day by day, I began to see the fruits of that inner work. Opportunities that once seemed invisible began to appear. Conversations that once intimidated me became natural. I started meeting people who matched my energy instead of my excuses. That's what a mindset shift does. It doesn't change the world. It changes how you see it. I learned to celebrate small wins, to trust slow progress, to stay consistent when no one was watching. Because success isn't built in moments of motivation. It's built in seasons of discipline. There will be mornings when you don't feel like it. Do it anyway. There will be days when results don't show. Keep going anyway. Because persistence is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. And I promise you, the day will come when all those unseen efforts, all those lonely nights, all those silent struggles will begin to pay off. And when it does, you won't just have more. You'll be more. Because the real reward isn't the money. It's the man or woman you become in the process. The one who learned how to think differently, how to rise after falling, how to believe even when things made no sense. That's the real wealth. The unshakable mindset that no economy can break, no recession can take, and no failure can erase. When you reach that place, money becomes a tool, not a trap. It becomes a servant, not a master. It flows to you because it trusts you, because you have become the kind of person who knows how to handle it. The millionaire mindset isn't about greed, it's about growth. It's about realizing that the more you develop yourself, the more you can give to others. Real wealth is impact. It's the ability to lift others because you've lifted yourself. And here's what I want you to remember. The shift doesn't start with money. It starts with a decision that says, I'm done thinking small. A decision that says, I will train my mind until abundance becomes natural. A decision that says, I will not live another day chained to fear, regret, or limitation. Your mind is your most valuable asset. Guard it, feed it, train it. Because everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every success story, started in someone's mind. That means everything you want can start in yours. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for validation. Start where you are, with what you have, and who you are. Because the journey to wealth is not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am the investment. I am the foundation. I am the source of every possibility in my life. You don't need a miracle. You are the miracle. You just need to start believing it. When you train your mind to see possibility where others see problems, to see growth where others see failure, to see abundance where others see scarcity, that's when everything changes. That's when you stop surviving and start living. That's when you stop chasing money and start attracting it. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the version of you who doubted, who struggled, who almost gave up, was necessary. Because that version carried you to this one. And now, it's your turn to rise. The world doesn't need more people chasing money. It needs more people mastering mindset. Because when your mind expands, your world expands. When your thoughts evolve, your results follow. The millionaire mindset is not a secret. It's a shift from fear to faith, from lack to abundance, from doubt to destiny. So from this moment forward, think like the person you want to become. Speak like them, act like them, walk like them, because soon you will be them. And when that day comes, when you finally hold in your hands the success you once only dreamed of, you'll know the truth. It was never about luck, never about timing, never about privilege. It was about a choice to transform your thinking, to rise beyond your past, to believe when no one else did. That's the power of a millionaire mindset. That's the shift that changes everything. And it begins, right now, with you.